I just want to say, I actually slept pretty good last night and just wishing everybody a good morning and hope everyone has a good day today. Um, so this video, is going to be about how some of the CPS agencies, mainly my local one, switch the workers around to be in different categories. Um, the ones that commit a fraud in my case and a few other people's cases, they actually switched them over to a different area of the agency. And I'm going to read it off from their website. And then I'm also going to read my evidence of my innocence, that there was no neglect or anything going on with witnesses. So, again, good morning, and I hope everyone's going to have a good day. So, here's the thing. There's the directory of the updated, you can't really see it unfortunately, but it's the updated version of where the workers and stuff is going. Sorry you guys can't see it, but it's a 2021 staff directory. The executive director now is W. Otis Crocker Jr. The deputy director of finance and operations is the same person. The deputy director of programs is Wendy Shields. Board members: Nancy Shell, Chair; Chris Ennis, Tamari Francis, vacant; Shelley Lieberman, vacant; Jenny Sheddick, Doug Orr, Ralph Harvey. Public Relations and Community Events Coordinator is Robin Webb. Human Resource Manager, Steve Peterson. The Administrative Assistant to Executive Director, W. Otis Crockron Jr., is Tara Begley Hoops. Family Children First Council is now Peggy Garcia, Council Coordinator. Katie Howard, Office Manager. The fiscal now is Melissa Parsons, the Account Clerk. Sherry Gillespie, the title IBEP Payroll Specialist. Jane Dixon, Account Clerk. Connor Larson, Account Clerk number 2. The legal department now is Brittany Leach, the Assistant Prosecutor Attorney. It used to be Rob Driscoll. Elaine Evans, a paralegal, which she hasn't moved yet, and she was also part of the fraud of removing my kids for profit and commit fraud and everything. She was part of that, and she's still in that one legal area. Riley McKibben, Legal Secretary. Southeast Regional Training Center, Tracy Steen. She's the director. The Tracy Richard, Foster Parent Training Coordinator, which used to be somebody else. Alexis Parsons, Staff Training Coordinator, Vacant Intimate Secretary. The facilities is now the people that works in the facility areas is Rob Mark, Facilities Manager. CJ Verity, Custodian Maintenance. Mike White, Groundskeeper. The Protective Service Program Supervisor is still Laura Bobo, the one who attacked me on December 3rd, 2018. Knocked my autistic child unconscious. Also, basically refused to allow me to practice my rights. Also, a cop that was in the police department to write out a fraudulent incident report, throw me in the jail for something I never did, so I won't fight for my rights or gather my evidence to prove my innocence. And they kept doing this. And then she's the one who tried to attack me in the parking lot several months back. That's the supervisor, the Protective Service Program Supervisor who attacked my autistic child. Family Services A. Susan Ballard, the supervisor. She refused to allow me to practice my parental rights. She made stuff up in the reports, just like Laura Bobo did. She also can't spell worth a crap. And I asked for a new caseworker because I have that right to request a new caseworker, and she denied me, which is another violation to my parental rights before they even stripped my rights away by fraud. Stephanie McDaniel, caseworker who got all mad in 2016, slammed the briefcase down with all these fraudulent documents coming out because she got mad that the judge did not give them full custody. That's Stephanie McDaniel. Mary Timms, a caseworker. Haley Glick, a caseworker. Mary Nim, caseworker. Michelle Rollins, family service secretary, clerical coordinator. Most of these people are new. As a lot of them also got switched to different categories, which they rotate them often because parents will expose them. Family service B, Travis Boggs, worker. Tammy Woodyard, transportation. And from someone who I know personally and everything, he has contacted Boggs on multiple occasions to report what has been going on. It is still going on. So at any there things, I'm the one that's calling and reporting you guys. I'm not. So alternative vacant supervisor. Catherine King, caseworker. Jason Fisher, caseworker. Teresa Eisner, caseworker. And in 2016, she was mean. She hates dogs and she lied. On the review reports on me, she lied. She accused me of going off on her. She accused me of being unstable when I was not. When I was simply being straightforward and honest with her. She yelled at me. She pointed at me. She was very verbally abusive towards me. And only God knows what else she has been doing since they took my kids for profit. And she's clearly a vegetative person because she's always in space. She doesn't know what the heck she's doing. But yet they have her in the alternative response team. Messed up, guys. Messed up. There's Emily Orr, caseworker, the Kaylin Seymour, caseworker, Heather Starr, attorney response, school outreach secretary, which I have no idea who most of these people are. The intake, Jamie May, supervisor. She committed a lot of fraudulent activity. She basically, what she did was she gave false diagnosis, paid a doctor to give me false diagnosis, like rest of them did in the court system. She also changed my words around. She put stuff in the report I never said. She basically lied in the report, in the review reports as well for the team meetings. And just really honestly made a lot of crap up, say I never made any improvements when I did. Jamie Mays, as the supervisor for the intake. Melissa Walker, a caseworker. She's not too bad. She's actually a pretty decent caseworker. So I really don't have nothing bad to say about her. She's actually one of the ones who kept closing me out because there was no evidence of abuse or neglect or dependency or instability or mental illness when she was working with me, and I was not on any psychiatric drugs when she was working with me, and she still closed my case because there was no threat, there was no nothing. So she's a decent caseworker. She is understanding and she's straightforward with you. Carly Ferguson, the caseworker. I don't know who she is. I can't really say this person's name because of the fraud she committed, but she's one of the ones who actually hacked my own email accounts with the help of law enforcement and other people to put a false CPO on me for her safety when I never did what she said I did. When she's the one who did it to set me up along with the police 2 months prior to the removal of my oldest autistic child based off fraud. I was completely locked out of my Gmail account. I literally could not get into it 2 months prior to this. Then Mandy Knowlton Kane, caseworker. I don't know who she is. Rebecca Galvin, intake screener. Dylan Shears, intake screener. Jen Williams, family violence investigator, and the deputy sheriff. And they're all, see, like, look, guys, so this is the stuff they will use against you. Even if you haven't been a victim of domestic violence in years, you're in the system. And that's example. Jen Williams, the family violence investigator, deputy sheriff. She's a good woman, I don't have nothing bad to say, but this is just proof how far they will go, that they got people working with them, snitching people out. although there hasn't been no domestic violence situation since, like, God knows when. Like, there was no kids involved at all during these disputes, and they still used that against me, although I was not a victim for a while. Adoption. So Tara Carsey actually used to be in the adoption section of this agency, but they actually relocated her to another section of the agency. And one of my friends, who's calling in to report these people, he actually told me they actually alternate these workers in different fields, because when people do expose them, they could just have another way to cover. Kim Holbert is a supervisor. She's still in there. Laura Schaefer, she's still in there. She's a caseworker. Hannah Jeffers, I don't know who she is, but she's a caseworker. Vacate, whatever vacate means, caseworker. Jenna Sweeney, caseworker. Marla Sames, adoption and placement secretary. And they're all part of the frauds who give the lump sum payments for the kids they demanded to be taken away, although the parents didn't do nothing, and all the cases have been closed to prove there was no such thing that was happening, and they still took my kids. Placement services. As Angie Varady, supervisor, Darlene Kokakita, caseworker, Tara Carsey, the caseworker, who was in the adoption area when she illegally removed my kids, committed fraud to strip my rights away, lied in court, never did home visits, never follow up with me. She basically just took my kids and she was done with me. That's pretty much what it is. Meanwhile, she was in the courtrooms, all over the courtroom, saying, oh, she did this, she did this, she did that, she did this, she did this. Oh, this is what she found, blah, blah, blah. She did not do nothing. She says she did. And on top of that, what's worse is she was making stuff up, because she was never stepped foot on my area where I used to live. She never once did a home visit, never once did an investigation. But her and the paralegal that I read in above the first section, all were like literally sitting in court along with Laura Schaefer, sitting in the courtroom, lying out of their asses to just take my kids away, submitting fraudulent documents, withholding evidence from my case so I won't get my kids back. This is corruption at its finest, and I will never stop preaching this. It's my amendment right. Before they take that away, I am getting all this stuff out, and my book is about some of this stuff. Okay, so as we continue the placement services, there was also Lisa Seltz, the academic life skills caseworker. Tanya Cooper, the foster parent recruiter trainer, where she was part of the corruption. Stephanie Jackson, the kinship caseworker, which is also part of the corruption, who also told my adopted aunt and uncle to not have no contact with me, that Elizabeth and Tiffany was me, same with Tara Carson was the rest of these CPS workers. And then that was not the case. Elizabeth and Tiffany is dead now because they committed suicide because of these people, because of my adopted aunt and uncle, which is Tiffany's biological sisters. Trish, I should say. Then there's Stephanie Jackson. I already said her name. Family support. Kathy Van Meter, supervisor. Hannah Simpson, family support worker. Shita Andrews, family support worker. Destiny Hooper, family support worker. Karen Armstrong, family mentor. She was my parent mentor for a very long time. She kept closing me out. She was okay. She's not bad. I don't really have nothing bad to say about her. She's actually truly godly. But because she can't for risk losing her CPS license, she couldn't stand up for me in court. But the thing is, she was my parent mentor. She kept closing me out. Like, she literally closed me out each time that they refer her to me. I even actually went and asked for help before they illegally took my kids, and I actually had an appointment set up with her to get some pamphlets on autism so I can educate myself. She was actually a really good person, but she can't lose her license, so she can't go against her coworkers. And she told me, You're a fit parent. You're doing everything right. There is nothing wrong with you. She kept closing me out. Like, I wasn't on psych meds when she was working with me at all. And I was completely stable. I was completely stable without psychiatric medication. And she's seen that. She's seen there was no neglect. She's seen there was no abuse, dependency, or any unstability or uncleanliness of my apartment. She understood, you know? And I had a 2-bedroom apartment, which she knew about it. And then she kept closing me out. She said, I have never seen a parent with so many diapers, wipes, food, and clothes as I do with you for your kids. Your kids are super well taken care of. And they're really well taken care of, and they're just fine with you. They're safe with you. I'm going to close you out. There's no need for us. There is no need for us to keep coming out because there is nothing wrong. You're not doing nothing wrong to keep having cases open, to keep having referrals sent to over, to keep on having all this stuff going on. She said, there's nothing wrong. You're not doing nothing wrong. You're a fit parent. I like what I see. You're doing great. Your son is doing good. He's walking and everything. He's doing good. He's healthy. You got his needs met. You're stable. You got income, blah, 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 blah. She's like, although it might be just a little bit income, you still got income able to meet the needs of your child, then some. Plus, you're able to pay your bills and everything. And she's like, you're even buying parents diapers and wipes for their kids because they can't provide for them. So she's saying she has no issue to keep closing me out. And it was ridiculous. She wanted my kid to come back to me, but you know how they are. Then there's Catherine Krieger, the intimate family support worker. Liz Bowman, intimate family support worker. Chelsea McDaniel, intimate family support worker. Tiffany Petment, the receptionist, family support secretary. The school outreach caseworkers who also just scoop out kids they want to take from parents at the public schools. Yeah, I just said that. They literally have caseworkers that work in the public schools to scoop out kids they want to take from the parents for profit. So the school outreach caseworkers and all the school districts they work for, vacant supervisor. Buckingham, the school outreach caseworker, Trimble. Diana Stock, school outreach caseworker, Athens City. Then it's vacant, school outreach caseworker, Nelsonville, York. Kent Felt, school outreach caseworker, Alexander. Kelly Impling, school outreach caseworker, Federal Hockey, Amesville. Tiffany Petman, school outreach secretary and alternative response team. So these people are working these school districts to also just hunt potential kids they can take away from parents for profit. Sick. They let have kidnappers working in public schools, y'all. Or the school teachers are part of it. Why do you think parents don't want to have the kids go to public school? Well, that's why, to keep them protected from the government. Quality assurance, Barbara Klein. Supervisor, Alea Baskine, case review coordinator. Julie Hendershot, information specialist. Catherine Marshall, volunteer and intern coordinator. And Christy Bradfield, qualified insurance secretary, which I don't even know what none of this is. I never knew they even had that. Yeah, guys, there it is. Proof. I just read it, y'all. Just read it. Talk about corruption. So now I'm gonna read my evidence. And I'm reading off these papers, the copies I have made. It says, I have known Bethany since 2012. After her son was born, I have been around them and seen them on video. But in every time I have seen them, she has been stable and a good mother. When I've been around, he is walking around, playing, and gets to play outside. She always kept his appointments and sure he was taken care of on a daily basis. So yeah, I'm not going to give this person's name to protect his identity and everything. But yeah, that's just one piece of evidence to prove my innocence. See? It's a copy. I copied the original copy on my printer. This is somebody I used to talk to as a friend of mine back when I was on meetme.com site. He's probably not even around anymore because he was in his 30s and 40s. But he says, I will if I knew. I told him, this person, I will if I knew CPS won't take it from me with how bad they are discriminating against me. They're like, why would they take the baby? You're a fit mother. That's what he told me. He told me you're a fit mother. Yes, I am, but CPS don't want to see past my disabilities, and they took my 2-year-old, who they knocked unconscious on December 3rd, 2018. This is a guy from North Charleston, West Virginia I used to talk to. Told me I filed my complaint and everything, but when they found out I was released within 24 hours, somehow they found out they all work together. DHHR, DHHS, all of them work together with the CPS agencies in the United States. So they told CPS about my complaint. Then they said I violated CPO. That was finally put on me to begin with. So they can have a reason to take my kids, because they knew they had no reason to take my kids. So with that said, they found out by one of the people I was filing a complaint to on the higher headquarters, and then they's like, oh, she violated CPO. They call and put a warrant out for my arrest for a violation of a CPO or something that I never did. Like, how am I supposed to do that? Like, I'm in a totally different city. I don't have a license. I don't have a car. How in the Hades am I supposed to just violate CPO? Like, come on. And they only did it to throw me in jail, so I will not send my evidence as proof of my innocence against the lies they said, because they did not want to get caught in court this time around. So they threw me in jail, so I won't send my evidence I had for my innocence to them. He's like, did any medical professional say you were too unstable to be a parent? My response was, medical professional has told them several times I'm stable, but they're still fighting it. Only thing medical professional said is the situation I am in is causing more depression. That if it was not for this situation, I have always been stable, meaning losing my kids for fraud and corruption so they can make that green in the pocket. So they do not give a crap about the welfare of your kids, guys. It's all a money-making scheme business. Here's another thing. I dropped in tenant groups that, look, they even type a letter up for me. And they would also withhold this evidence. And they also, CPS destroyed the original documents like they did with the rest of this evidence. I got copies of and made copies of. So this is January 2020. To whom it may concern, this statement is regarding Bethany Limley's child custody case. Bethany has been a member of the GP since 2013, but was going since 2012. And has always engaged in health and wellness activities within our programming when able to attend. When her first son was born in 2016, Bethany put in a lot of effort to be prepared with diapers, bottles, clothing, and other items. When we observed Bethany at the GP, she has always been attentive to her son's needs. He always had clean clothes, was kept clean, and had formula and food. With her more recent pregnancy, Bethany also was well prepared with needed items for a newborn and also has maintained her services with various providers. Bethany is a planner and has always maintained a wellness plan and lists of goals in order to recognize and keep track of her responsibilities in her life. And Tara Carsey said, I never cut my services with my providers. She lied about that in court. She committed fraud about that in court. She even withheld the evidence to go against what she was saying, so she could strip my rights away for profit. And then Tara Carsey also said there was no good cause waiver to be permanently waived for paternity testing for my oldest child. And they withhold this evidence from the court. Yeah, guys, look. I made copies of the documents. And I want to read this. Approval of good cause waiver. You have requested a good cause waiver of the requirement to cooperate with Child Support Enforcement Agency. The CSEA has reviewed the written documentation provided to us, and the CSEA is approving your request for a good cause waiver. You are receiving this letter for one of the following reasons: approval of permanent good cause waiver. The CSEA is approving a permanent good cause waiver, and you do not have to cooperate with the CSEA in establishing paternity or establishing or enforcing a support order. And that's the box they checked. The other box that they had an option to check was approval of temporary good cause waiver. The CSEA is approving a temporary good cause waiver for the time period, check with blah, 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 blah. But they actually checked this box, the first box that I read. I was approved for a permanent good cause waiver. And they said there was no such thing, that I never got approved, that they have every right to do that, to do what they want. Yeah, so there you have it, guys. Don't let them tell you there's no such thing. If you're a parent who is currently dealing with CPS in your areas, domestic violence victims can get this, sexual assault victims can get this. Approve of good cause waiver permanently, y'all, permanently. They got all the records from the courts. They got the records from the sheriff's station. They got the records from my doctor's offices. They got all those records, and that's why I was able to get approved for a good cause permanently waiver. Dude, Child Support Enforcement Agency. And they said I never got that. There's no such thing when there is. And here's a transportation thing. I'm going to cover this person's name and the number best I'm able to, guys, to protect their identity. Look at this. And they said there was a risk of future harm for my infant to be neglected and not be taken to the medical appointments. Look at this. They just recently started this right before I lost Josiah by fraud in 2018. To whom it may concern, we have it at Green Cab have taken Bethany Limley, which is me, to and from her doctor's appointments and therapy appointments throughout her pregnancy. And literally, they say I never attended my therapy appointments, I never attended my doctor's appointments, and all this other stuff. When I always have, and then Green Cab started, and they're really, really reliable, you know. You can trust them. They're really good people. And they literally confirmed in this letter, I'm going to continue, we can provide her and Dylan, my infant that illegally took at birth when there was nothing wrong with him, for risk of future harm of neglect when there was no risk of anything. We can provide her and Dylan transportation if needed to their appointments. Just need to call. If you have any questions, you can contact them, which I'm not giving that personal information out. And they said there was a risk of future harm of me not taking my kids to the appointments, when that was a crock of lie. Anything for profit, guys. That's how they are. It's really bad. Give me a minute. I need another iToid. But it's just ridiculous, guys. It's just ridiculous. And I had a nurse at the time, and she actually listened to me and got Dylan's first well check and his WIC appointment schedule. Matter of 5 minutes after I just got out of C-section, I demanded her we get that done now. And my nurse, Shayna Lewis, I had at the time, she was going to be the one who took me to his appointments. And Josh and Lisha, back before I found out how messed up they really are, was going to take Dylan for overnights if I ever need a break, or if I just want some time alone, or if I want to do something with friends. They would have took him for the night or two or whatever. They said they would be willing to do that till CPS screw them up mentally. My aunt and uncle was going to help me with Dylan as well, like they did with Josiah, before CPS screwed them up mentally in the courts. All right, are you guys ready for this one? screenshots of my old Facebook account. I had someone to send me the screenshots because I got hacked into my old Facebook account. I was literally hacked into my old Facebook account. I could not get in for like almost a month. And I got the screenshots of people harassing my friends and potential partners. So I'm going to read this. And some of it might be reread, some of it might be out of order. Just bear with me. So it says, I hacked her accounts. I am removing her friends. We do not want her happy, and we will keep making her look crazy. This is CPS. With the help of us, the police, we will make her life a living hell. We will continue to make up lies and destroy her goals. We will see no guy ever date her. We would take all her kids, every single one she ever has, because we don't like that she lives off welfare and has been a victim of domestic violence and a foster child in the system when she grew up. We will continue to target her because we get immunity every time we abuse her. We know we can get away with it. We the ones who hacked her emails to pin false felonies. We were the ones who sent threatening emails to a coworker so we could have a reason to steal her kids. So we can have also a reason to strip her rights away and put her on a child abuse and neglect registry by fraud. And we pay doctors to give her false diagnosis. And we pay others lump sum to lie on her to say risk of future harm so she won't get her infant back when he was born. And because she was a foster child, when she was a child growing up in the foster care system, and we can make her an easy target just because she grew up in the foster care system. We will and are working in letting every state know how she lost her kids and take her kids if she even tries to leave the state. We hate her. Yeah, guys, hate crimes. Look, boom. Look. Do you see that? We can get away with all this illegal and fraudulent stuff because we got immunity. Yes, I knocked the shit out of her as a cop for money, and we destroy all evidence to prove Bethany's innocence. She's not incompetent. We brainwash her in the community. The courts help us as well to destroy her life for profit. And they try to hide schizophrenic, bipolar, all these crazy mental illness. If that was the case, why in the hell was I got totally different diagnosis being in a psych hospital for my own safety from CPS? They evaluated. They took 14 days plus to evaluate me. And it says the principal diagnosis at discharge is major depressive disorder without psychotic features and anxiety disorder. From where I lost my kids. Do you see it? Yeah. These are my real true diagnoses. And I was in that hospital for 14 days for multiple different types of psych evaluations. There's nothing wrong with me. Till I lost my kids. After I lost my kids, I fall into the deep depression state. I start having social anxiety. I started to have anxiety talking to people. I started to have anxiety to leave my house and my apartment that I was living in at the time. And it's just really bad. Like, and they wanted to say that I got schizophrenic, bipolar, that I got multiple personality disorder, that I have narcissistic personality disorder, that I have borderline personality disorder, and I don't have none of that. These are my true diagnosis: major depressive disorder without psychotic features and social anxiety disorder. And that's in the CPTSD that I got from the loss of my kids by fraud so they can make a quick buck off of my kids because they were adoptable. Corruption, guys. It shouldn't be like that. Here's I already read some of these to you. Let me go through, see if there's anything I missed. And they even turned on my ex-boyfriend and turned his back against me. Look at that. That's my ex from Indiana. And this is from one of my friends. I'm not going to say his name, but I'm not even going to show you the thing because I don't want to like show his picture on here. But just put it this way. He's like, what are we going to do about all this CPS bullshit is what I asked him. He's like, I really don't know what to do about. I've never seen anything as bad as you're dealing with on an everyday basis. I'm going to reread that again, guys. I really don't know what to do about. I've never seen anything as bad as what you're dealing with on a daily basis. I just read it off this paper. I was like, tell me about it. Only thing there is to do is have your complete support and to relocate me somewhere far from here in a one bedroom. This is back last year, I believe, or beginning of this year. No, it's last year. These messages was last year. I was like, if not, they're going to eventually commit more fraud to throw me in prison for a very long time or plot my death. Isn't it obvious? I have multiple copies of these items. And then they said I never attended Help Me Grow or Head Start. But I did beg to differ. They also record this evidence as well, guys. Josiah Limley was enrolled in early Head Start from 7/22/16 to 2/24/18. This was the old home visitor. I'm not going to say her name to protect her identity. She was an awesome one. She was hilarious. Bethany was also enrolled during her pregnancy for several months with Josiah. And I was also enrolled, but after I lost Dylan at birth, she basically just left her job and went to school for something new. It caused her trauma. I wrote a note here as well on it. I was like, I was enrolled in my second pregnancy, and I had appointments with early Head Start scheduled before delivery through 2019. They lied, say I was not attending early Head Start nor Help Me Grow. Again, fraud. And they withholded the evidence and destroyed the original evidence. Oh, and here's a little file. Try to not give guys any of my personal information. But it says alleged neglected dependent. I never neglected Josiah, and as soon as they heard I had another baby that I was about to give birth, they said there was alleged dependent DL. They didn't even know his name before they took him. Like, they didn't even know his name. They had to ask me before court, what is my infant's name? Never happened at all. Never happened. They lied and they took DL at birth, and he was nothing wrong with him. He was completely healthy. He was completely healthy. Like, he was so healthy. And I was told they illegally took him as well because there had to be something wrong with my infant for them to take him, and there was nothing wrong with him. See, that old prosecutor attorney. Look, here's proof. That's the old attorney. And there, this whole time, and all the other years before, Blackburn was under an investigation for fraud, and and something, money laundering, and some other stuff. I don't know. Sierra Meeks also goes by Sue Meeks. She's not an attorney. When this was happening, plus she threatened and lied and submitted fraudulent evidence to seize all my kids because I live off welfare. I was a foster child as well, and that's what she said she would do, and the reason why. This was literally 6 months prior before I lost my oldest, and I went for his autism screening. I had no idea she was going to be there, and she seen that I still had my kid, so she made this horrendous report saying my kid was going to get killed if they didn't remove him, just because I'm on welfare, and that's what she said she was going to do 6 months prior. And she found out I still had Josiah in my care. And she works at Park Hall College Green. Jenny's thoughts, the Casa gal. She was part of the corruption, guys. Madeline Rainbow was mine, and she even told me and my providers they will continue to commit fraud to strip my rights away of any other kids I had, and that's at the plane the whole time. And that there were more people that stands up for me, the more they will cause issues and more lies and more fraud. They will commit more people that sticks up for me. Then the sperm donor, which is the one who sexually assaulted me, Norman Pike, the Sierra Meek, attorney for JL. That's another name she goes by, Sierra Meek, and she also goes by Sue Meeks as well, guys. She goes by Sue Meeks, but her real legal name is Sierra Meeks. And they gave a false fake address for her when she works at Park Hall. Dylan was not neglected. Sue Meeks, ACCS, gave false testimony. I did not even bring him home. Both boys have their own sleep area. Dylan had everything he needed, so did Josiah. They acted out of discrimination and retaliation for losing 5 other cases plus of the same things. And I gave all of Dylan's clothes, food, bottles, diapers, wipes, crib, money, his piggy bank, the baby monitors, everything. I gave over $2,050, way over that, to Josh and Alicia of all the items I have bought my kids. I gave all their belongings to my aunt and uncle. They said they had nothing on me. Then they asked Sue Meeks, Sierra Meeks, and she said, "Well, there's a risk of future harm." There was never such thing as a risk of future harm, and that's some of the shit she said she was going to say. Pardon me for my language. Do not judge me, like I said in my other videos. But anyone who has gone through this will be cussing, so do not even judge me. So yeah, that's some of the stuff she said she was going to do, commit fraud, and said there was a risk of future harm if I ever got pregnant again. So I won't get my kids back. So this is everyone who was part of the fraud in court. Gonna reread this. I did a previous video on this. People involved with the fraud to take my kids. So some of the stuff, like I said, has changed. But I went over that in the beginning of the video. So this is all the ones who was involved in the fraud. Tara Carsey, Laura Belbo, Protective Service Program Supervisor, Susan Ballard, Family Services A Supervisor, Judge Robert Stewart, the Judge Powell from Meigs County Juvenile Court, Kaylee Edenfield, Lisa Gagarico, Supervisor Intake, Keller Blackburn, Karen Armstrong, Sue Meeks, or Sierra Meeks, Nelsonville Police Department, Supreme Court in Ohio, Andrew Reisner, Catherine Hill, the Executive Director. See, she doesn't even work there anymore, guys. Melissa Walker, Intake Caseworker, Legal, Rob Driscoll, Assistant Prosecutor Attorney. He also no longer works with them. Elaine Evans, she still works with them as a paralegal. Stephanie McDaniel, the caseworker, had a 2016 Family Services A. The alternative response, Teresa Eisner, caseworker, she also did in 2016. The adoptions, Kim Hulbert, supervisor, Laura Schaefer, caseworker, Tara Carsey, the caseworker, Tina Corrie, foster parent, recruiter, and trainer. And they moved Tara Carsey, but I think the B word that I read earlier today, I think they're just trying to protect her because she committed a fraud to steal people's kids. Karen Armstrong, family parent mentor, family support, Madeline Rainbow, then Josh and Alicia Green. All were part of the fraud. And we're taking my kids illegally, guys. Messed up, I know. And then I'm not going to give the physical address because then I could get in trouble for that. Oh, and they said try to get me for medical neglect, guys. Really? Does that look like medical neglect? Look at all these vaccinations they are forcing on us parents to give our kids. And they wonder why there's so many autistic children in this world anymore. Look at these vaccinations. This is the first page. The second page. Oh, looky. His growth charts. The doctor like what she see. But still, they try and get me for medical neglect. More of his growth charts, and they still liked what they seen. Oh, and then Tara Carsey lied in court, so I won't get visitation, because the court was going to give me visitation to see my kids, but Tara Carsey didn't like that idea, so she lied and saying that I harassed her when I never did that. Just because my foster sisters, Elizabeth and Tiffany Rice, exposed her on her personal Facebook page in front of her family and friends, that she accused me of it. And then she told her court that my son was terrified of men. He never was terrified of men, guys. That's just more lies that are using to take your rights away. My son has never once been terrified of men until CPS got a hold of him. And he was molested in their respite care 3 days before his second birthday, guys. That's the reason he's afraid of men. Not because of me, not because of what I've done, because of what Children's Services done to him. And then I told my friend about it. And I said, it must be his foster family. Something's happening there because I've never known Josiah to be afraid of any males. Exactly right. He's never been afraid of any males. Any one of other GP can answer that as well. He has never been afraid of no males. Never once till he was molested and respite care with Athens County Children's Services 2 to 3 days before his second birthday in 2017. 2018, around that time. So guys, there you got it. That's some of the corruption that I'm dealing with. Some of the evidence that they withheld and destroyed the original copies. So they can get away with the lies and stuff. I mean, they're going to get away with it anyway. They get immunity. But I mean, that's just more, that's some evidence right there to prove my innocence. And I hope you guys enjoy this. And I really hope you guys stop fighting for parents who are wrongfully losing their kids, because what it does, it causes trauma for the parents, for the kids, for the friends. It causes trauma for everyone involved. And they are just doing it for profit. They do not care about the well-being of your kids. They only do it for the profit. If you're poor, you'll easily, oh, we can get money from this. This parent's poor. Oh, they take this kid. This parent has learning disabilities. Oh, let's take this kid because this parent is on an IEP. Oh, let's just take this kid because it's adoptable. Oh, let's just take this kid because the parents was on an IEP in school or in a foster child as a child growing up in the foster care system. Anything they can do to easily target poor families or parents who was a foster child growing up in the system, they're the first ones who loses their kids and loses their rights. The next section is Christians. Christians is also on the list of the people who they target first to take their kids away. And they call Christians depressive. They call Christians schizophrenic. They call Christians borderline personality disorder. They call Christians a risk of future harm. They call Christians abusive, neglectful parents. Just because, well, you know, they're Christians. I'm friends with a lot of people who are Christians who lost their kids forever. That's just an example. And I am friends with some of my foster siblings still who also had kids and they lost their kids. Just put it this way, right before Christmas of 2020, My two foster brothers, not going to name their names, it was closed casket for both of them. They had kids and they lost their kids just because it was a foster child. And they killed themselves. And all I can tell you is from what I heard, it chopped the bodies in two pieces. So I don't know what happened. But they did something crazy for suicide. And excuse me. And then my two foster sisters, Elizabeth and Tiffany, which is the biological sisters of Trish. He was adopted out twice. So that's why she has a different last name than them. But just put it this way, they also killed themselves, like I said at the beginning of the video, because of CPS corruption and because of my adopted aunt and uncle. My three foster sisters I got that I was talking to, I still talk to Trish, but like I said, Tiffany Elizabeth has passed. They got fixed early on, so they didn't have to deal with this. And then my foster sister, who is in Rikers Island, not saying her name, she deserved it though. She actually truly deserved to lose her child. I'm not the one who supports CPS, but if you know anything about her, just know she was extremely dangerous and completely unstable. She is so dangerous and she deserved to lose her kids because of what she did. I'm not saying what she did, but I mean, she almost killed some people down in New York, up in New York, I should say. And she was in drug rehab, and then she did what she did. She was in Rikers Island. And if any of you guys know what Rikers Island is, it's a place for the most dangerous inmates. Those who have almost killed a person. That's what Rikers Island is in New York. So by no means, I do not support what CPS does, but in some cases, that's when they need to really get called out. But the thing is, they usually leave those cases untouched. Meanwhile, they're going after fit parents just because they're poor or because they're single or because they was abused by a partner when there was no kids ever involved, or because it's on an IEP or because they live in poverty. Poverty and neglect is two different things. It all depends on the parent and how they budget and where they shop. And with me, I live in poverty, but I always had so much stuff for my kids. They have more than enough. I shop by the cases of stuff because it was so much cheaper that way. So much cheaper that way. So, and then I was on WIC also, and like every well check they get with the kids, you know how WIC does it. They always get a free pack of diapers, whether they need it or not. And I have actually turned diapers down. And someone's like, listen, I don't need the diapers. I have so many cases of diapers. Please give it to somebody who really, truly needs help. And that's why I told WIC. And they said, okay, that's fine. You're a good woman for it. You're a good mom. You're such an amazing mom. So I just wanted to get this out there. Just realize, don't call CPS on parents just because it got beef on them or whatever, because when the kids get taken away, they never go back home. Usually they end up killed in the foster care system or adopted out and their names get changed under the black market. Like me, my original name was Beth Shillys Clark, and I was adopted out on the black market, so my whole name changed to Bethany Leona Limley. So don't call cops or CPS on the parents just because they're poor or you don't like them or because you got beef. Like, come on. People need to realize when they're doing that stuff to people without good reason or good cause, they need to realize how much trauma they are making that family go through. And like I said, I know every single individual who reported me to CPS just because they didn't like me, because they got beef. And one of them was my ex's and his girlfriend's family. And my ex told me if I ever put a CPO on him, if I didn't get rid of my pregnancy, which was Josiah, he told me this when after I found out I was pregnant by sexual assault. And if I did not got rid of the baby, if I put a CPO on him, if I get him sent to jail, that he would do whatever he can to see I lose my kid and never get him back. He said, I never wanted kids. They stop raping people. He's a serial rapist, y'all. Be careful. He's a serial rapist. He actually had someone on September 1st, 2015, press a gun to the back of my head. And I still have my periods and everything, so I never thought I was pregnant. And like I said, who would think they're pregnant if they have periods? No one. And sadly, I saw that person yesterday. I'm nowhere near where all this stuff happened. I came through just briefly to get to where I needed to go to get back home. And the person that Norman Pike had to put that gun in the back of my head, I seen him yesterday, and I was so terrified, guys. Like, I was so terrified. There's a lot of stuff, you guys, if you knew what was that really went on in the county I used to live in, you guys would freak. You guys would freak and get the cold chills, and your blood would run cold. Just put it that way. It's really bad. So with this said, I'm going to end this video, and I am hoping you guys will like and subscribe. And if you feel like it could help me in any way, you can share it, but just be careful with the groups you share it to, because you never know when there's an undercover CPS worker under a fake name, fake picture, fake everything, because they do that to stalk the victims as well on social media. So just be very, very careful. Who you send this to. I mean, yes, it's gonna be probably posted to the public, but still, people need to realize you need to be very careful who you give any information to, because you never know. You just don't know. And because of this, they destroying my motherhood. I had to drop out of college. I was actually going to Hawking College for early childhood education and development, and I had to not attend or drop out due to this situation that they did. They ruined my career. They ruined my motherhood. They ruined everything I ever wanted to do and had planned for my kids. So I really hope this inspires some of you, and I hope you guys wake up and honestly see that CPS isn't what you think they are. They're more like cult services, and there's been so much uncover information to prove that. So just be really mindfulness, open-minded before you do anything to anyone, because you never realize the trauma you're going to cause someone by calling and making a false report on the parent. Because when you do that, most of the time they never see their kids again, or they get killed in the foster care system. I was almost murdered in the foster care system, and I was also human trafficked out and drugged in the foster care system. And then they forced drugs down my system as an adult, or I wasn't going to get my kid back. And I found out I wasn't going to get my kid back anyway, so after they stripped my rights away, I quit. I quit my medication because I didn't need it. I did not need the medications. They forced me to be on. They pay these doctors and forensic people to get false diagnoses and all this other crap. And my counselor I have now, which I actually missed the appointment Monday because I've been sleeping almost constantly. Like, I'm sleeping anywhere from 20 to 25 hours at a time. So I've been missing some of my counseling appointments, and I can't help that. It's part of a neurological issue that I actually got after my second delivery. But my counselor told me I don't need medication. Like, not everyone needs medication. They just need love, care, someone to talk to, someone to vent. And so sometimes that's all they really need, because medications can make things a lot worse, which it shows in my file. That's what it does. It makes me completely psychotic when I'm on psychiatric drugs, because of mind altering drugs. Plus, I took a genetic testing, and it showed that I don't need psychiatric medicine. It shows how it affects me. It makes me a lot worse. And there is some of the other newer medications that's been out in the past 7 to 10 years that has yet to show up on the genetic testing, which is what the psychiatric doctor told me. And they say, man, you don't even need medication. There's really nothing wrong with you. Only reason you're depressed, only reason you got trauma, only reason you got anxiety and sleep issues because of what you've gone through, all the harassment, all the abuse that you have gone through with child services and the court system and the cops. all this stuff that you've gone through has made you into this person. And there's no medicine that's going to help with that. And what's going to do, if you put you on medicine, is going to cause a lot of serious issue. You'll be in a vegetative state, which typically I was when they forced medication down my throat. And it can also cause the vice versa effect and make you go completely psychotic, which that has done several different times. I have been on every medicine on the market, and I had nothing but awful side effects of those medications. Because I didn't need them. I didn't need the medication to begin with. And this is part of the reason I have the weight I got is because of the medication that they put me on, which trigger the insulin resistant, which could trigger the thyroid issues I have because of the psychiatric drugs they put me on when I was a child into my teen years and as an adult, whether it was forcing medication on me. This is what happens. It will make you gain weight, which when you gain weight, it causes, like I said, thyroid issues, up hyper or low thyroid, insulin resistance, and all kinds of stuff that these psychiatric drugs would do to people. Then that's just the physical issues of those side effects, not counting the mental issues they will give you. So I just really wanted to get this off my chest because I really need to get it out. And if I didn't get it out, I will drive myself completely bonkers. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and got more education on what is going on. And I really hope you guys the best. And just remember, do not cause unnecessary trauma for a family just because they're different or because they're single or because you got beef with them. Don't do that. That's just wrong. That is abuse. So anyway, I am just going to end this video. Take care. Peace. Bye.